y'all doing? My name is Pastor Aaron Chauncy. Welcome to the Encounter series. What I'm going to be doing today is sharing with you my testimony of what God has brought me through. You know, when I look at my life, I kind of have to figure out, okay, where do I exactly begin? What points do I hit? There's so many different things that God has brought me through. You know, it's hard to take a number of years and condense it down into a small period of time, but I'm gonna do my best. Like most of you may be watching, I grew up in the Seventh-Day Adventist Church, but like a lot of young people, I was frustrated with the Seventh-Day Adventist Church. I was frustrated with God, so many things. What I looked at the Adventist Church as being is just a set of rules that focused on these specific rules, mainly the Sabbath, outside of anything else. And so growing up, I never seemed to fit the mold of the Seventh-Day Adventist mindset, I guess you could say. And what I mean by that is, you know, oftentimes growing up, we have goals, right? For me, my goals was to play sports. Like most African-American males, you either rap or you sing or you play sports, basketball, football primarily. For me, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to play sports, right? Either basketball or football. However, there was always the contention of what do I do about the Sabbath? Now, it wasn't a question for me. For me, it really didn't matter. I didn't have a relationship with God to care about the Sabbath at that point. But what I used to get the question of is, okay, you want to play basketball, you want to play football, what are you going to do about the Sabbath? Well, at that point, at a young age, 10, 11 years old, I didn't care about the Sabbath. I didn't know the God of the Sabbath to even care about the Sabbath. And so it just seemed like, okay, I'm supposed to follow these particular rules simply because you say so, but I don't have a relationship with the individual who has given these specific rules. And I felt like growing up that the emphasis in the Seventh-Day Adventist Church was rules-based and never really relationship-based. You just get your relationship sometime along the way. And that frustrated me. It frustrated me so much so that it led me into what you're gonna hear in a lot of this testimony. Again, I wanted to play sports growing up. However, I wasn't able to because of the whole Sabbath thing. I went to a mixture of public schools and private schools growing up, Adventist schools, public schools, kind of bounced back and forth between the two. And you know, as Adventist schools, if any of you guys have went to them or are in it right now, you know, there's really not a push for playing sports, right? The push is for salvation, obviously, and the push is for doctor, lawyer, you know, things like that. But that wasn't my mindset, and I didn't even really like school. And so I wanted to play the sports, but the private schools don't really push that. And I didn't really have that push at home either to say, hey, achieve this particular goal, dream or anything like that. It didn't fit this particular mold. And so I started to gravitate to a whole different area of life. Growing up, I wasn't interested in the streets. I wasn't interested in selling drugs. I wasn't interested in fast money. I wasn't really interested in those things. I was interested in playing sports. My dad used to tell me, you know, find a job that you like doing so that when you go to that job, it's not like a job that you don't want to be at every time. It's like fun. And that's what sports was to me. It was a way that I could have fun doing what I like to do, but at the same time get paid for it. What better than that? But wasn't able to go that route. Probably about the 6th grade, I was pretty much done with school, maybe the 7th grade. Math started to get difficult, and I didn't like math. I still don't like math. I didn't see the point of a lot of the math that I was teaching. I didn't see a lot of the point of what they were teaching in school, period. And most people that graduated from college when I was coming up, right, I would hear this thing. Go to school, you know, get your education, graduate from high school, go to college, graduate from college. But a lot of these people that was telling me, they ain't had no job. They couldn't find no job. They struggling to have a job and things like that, and they were struggling money at the same time. So it was like you selling me something that I'm not buying because you don't have a job, but you're telling me to go to school, go to college, do these different types of things, which the end result may be I still don't have money, I still don't do what I want to do. And so going to college, being in school didn't really have much appeal to me. Probably about when I was in 9th grade, 10th grade, right? I used to go to school and I would see students, right, that would come to school 15, 16 years old, gold teeth in the mouth. I'm from down south, as you could tell by my accent, I'm from Texas. And so we are very big on having gold teeth in the mouth, right? So I see kids at school 15, 16 years old, gold teeth all throughout their mouth. That may not have any appeal to you, but to me it did. Gold teeth, lots of money in their pocket, nice cars, you know what I'm saying? All those kind of things. And I'm like, man, what is these dudes doing? You know, mind you, they 15, 16 years old, same as me. I'm like, what are y'all doing? And so then it became known to me what these individuals was doing, and it was hustling. And be it the hustle was robbery, or be it the hustle was selling drugs, no matter what the hustle was, you know, it had a lot of appeal to me. That fast money, I began to get addicted to it, right? Because I saw with school, I saw the balance with school was all right, it's that slow money. It takes a long time to get it, but you know, I ain't really got that kind of time, I feel. The other side, you got the fast money, the illegal side, which leads to a whole bunch of other things, which are incarceration, death, you know, getting murdered, things like that. It's really not many options with that kind of lifestyle. Anyhow, when I seeing all of these things, I pretty much hop head first into the streets, right? No longer was I really going to church. I really hadn't been living at home for real from the time I was 15 years old, and at 16 years old is when I first got incarcerated. And so I was in and out, and I was in the hands of the state. So I wasn't obligated to go to church because I wasn't at home. I wasn't obligated to do certain things because I wasn't at home. I wasn't in school for real either. 16 years old was the first time I got locked up. I got locked up for burglary of habitation. I had robbed some people in a house and took the money. I think it was like $500 something odd. But to a 16-year-old at this time, 15, 16 years old, that's a lot of money. You know, I'm not having to pay bills or anything like that. That's a lot of money at that particular time. And I saw how fast I could get it, and I was hooked. It literally took me maybe like 5-10 minutes to get that amount of money. And I'm like, you know, you really can't get that amount of money doing anything else. Not legal anyhow that I seen. And so when I hit that lick, that robbery, whatever you want to call it, I was addicted, right? I was addicted to how fast I could get that money. That thrill was inside of me at that point. However, I did that, but the consequence was I ended up getting locked up. There's a whole story behind that, which I'm not gonna go into, but I ended up getting locked up. And that was the first time I was locked up in a juvenile detention center. And I tell you what, that was the worst experience in my life at that particular point, right? I am a social being. I'm an individual that likes to interact with people. I'm an individual that likes to be outside, out and about. This was the first time I was in a situation where I'm isolated from everybody. When I got into the juvenile detention center, they put me in a cell by myself, and I was there in that cell by myself 23 hours a day. We would get out for 1 hour, and that 1 hour, you pretty much just eat. You really couldn't talk to anybody. But you sat in the cell 23 hours a day. You talk about going bananas, man, going crazy. It was hard. But this was the life. This was part of what comes with that type of living, right? You do right comes along with it. You do wrong comes along with it. That's just how it goes. So you would think, right, that growing up in the Seventh-Day Adventist church, coming from a two-parent home, you would think that, okay, I bumped my head, 16 years old, I got incarcerated, I tasted it, let me change my life and get back into church. No. As I said, that rush, that adrenaline rush, that addiction to the fast money, how fast you could get it, was burned and etched inside my mind at that point. This was back in like the late 90s, 98, 99. Some of you guys may remember, Cash Money Records, right? And they had this song back in 99 called Bling Bling. You know, and they was on the music video flashing all the money and all that kind of stuff like that. And I'm like, man, you know, this is attractive, this is addictive. You know, at that point, I didn't know that a lot of that stuff is a lie, right? I didn't know that a lot of times those cars are rented in the music videos. I didn't know nothing about Photoshop, how the girls be Photoshop. I didn't know anything about all that stuff. I knew what I saw, and I was addicted to what I saw. You know, I didn't know all the little background stuff. Anyhow, I'm seeing all these things, right? I'm seeing all these things. I'm seeing friends making money. I'm seeing these music videos, you know, where money is being thrown around and everything. And I'm just addicted to this stuff at this point, right? So when I got out of the juvenile detention center, my original charge carried 2 to 20 years in prison. In Texas, you have something called TYC, Texas Youth Commission. I wasn't sentenced to the juvenile facility. I was just stayed there for a little bit of time. And I didn't get sent to TYC, which AKA they call them gladiator schools, because it's just a bunch of teenagers and all they do is pretty much fight. I ain't interested in the TYC thing. I ain't built for all that fighting stuff. I just want to talk and, you know what I'm saying, like that's it. But you know, my charge carried that amount of time, 2 to 20 years. It was deferred though, because this was my first time being incarcerated. So I get out. Right, I was living in San Antonio, Texas. I get out, and head still ain't screwed on straight. And I think a year later, not even a year later, I was back incarcerated, right? I finished the 10th grade, and that was it. I couldn't take it no more. I started the 11th grade, but I never went. I don't think out of the 2 months that I was there for the 11th grade, I don't think I went to school one whole day. I would literally just skip, you know, I just ain't showing up or whatever. You know, my dad would go to work, and I'm like, okay, well, ain't nobody about to tell me I gotta go to school, you know, so I would just do what I wanna do. You know, go smoke weed, go drink, go do whatever I wanna do, go hang out with friends, but I couldn't do the school tip. And so I finished the 10th. I don't even know how I passed the 10th grade, I have no clue, but I passed the 10th grade, started the 11th, never really went. And 2 months into when I was supposed to be in 11th grade, I get incarcerated again. This time I was 17 years old. I had just turned 17, literally like 3 weeks prior to this. And I didn't know at this particular time until, you know, after the whole case, that a particular house where we used to hang out at was being watched by the police. We were under surveillance for a while, and I didn't know this. And, you know, we used to break into houses constantly. Like, this was an everyday thing, kicking in houses, taking stuff, you know. And so we would bring it all back to this particular house, particular apartment or whatever. And I mean, we had a whole bunch of different types of things. And so one particular night, I think we was coming back from the club or something like that. About 2 o'clock in the morning, police came to my house and got me or whatever, you know. And I was charged with not burglary and habitation. I was charged with home invasion. I was charged with home invasion, 2nd-degree home invasion, which is in essence kicking in houses, and whether somebody's there, whether nobody is there, you going up in that house and getting what you want. People be there, people not there, you know. So that's what I was charged with, 2nd-degree home invasion, 17 years old, supposed to be in high school, supposed to be in 11th grade, supposed to be doing the right thing. Like I say, I grew up in the Seventh-Day Adventist church, but, you know, this is the life that I was living.